Just Eff It. Hi, I'm Romy.
Hi, and I'm Carla.
And together we are the EFFing
Madres.
Madres. We are here to invite you guys into stories of some inspiring madres
who have changed their lives through an Eff It moment. So here we go. Just Eff It.
Happy Monday, everybody.
Good morning. Good Monday.
Good morning. We are the Eff It Madres. I am Romy, and this is Carla, and we are just two moms that are best friends, and we said Eff It together, and we started a podcast. You are here at our podcast, the Eff It Madres, and this podcast is a space for madres, women who are wanting to have an Eff It moment, in the middle of having an Eff It moment, have had an Eff It moment, have had multiple Eff It moments, don't know even what an Eff It moment is. We're here for all of it. So we always get a wonderful madre to come on Mondays and share some inspiring story. And yeah, who do we have on today, Carla?
So we have someone named Jenna Brocious. I'm pretty sure I'm saying it right. But anyway, she is a mom, and she was referred to me by someone actually. And she brought up an interesting Eff It moment, which was she caught herself speaking to her child in a way that like reminded her of how she was raised. And it was just kind of one of those moments that she was like, whoa, I need to change this. You know, this is not what I want moving forward in the communication with my kid. So I'll let her go into obviously more detail about it, but I find that interesting because I think that like we all have had those moments where we're like,
oh yeah,
okay, like that reminds me a little too much of, at least for me, too much of my mom. So I need to scratch that off and not do that again.
Why is it always like a terrifying moment when you're like, oh, that I know that too well, and I don't want to be that?
Yeah. I mean, because it's like we obviously are like now in therapy for a lot of the shit that our parents have put us through. So like, you know, like you and how we've spoken about on this podcast, like we are very much interested to not repeat.
Yes.
Those cycles.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear a mom kind of get into this type of moment. This is a little bit different for us. So awesome.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to bring her right in.
Great.
And we have Jenna Brocious here, and I got it right. God damn it. I want to just take a minute to be proud of myself because I butcher a lot of last names. But anyway. Okay, Jenna, we're going to jump right in.
Okay.
The first question. So when did you decide to just Eff it and why?
Yeah, so I came from a traumatic childhood, and my whole goal as an adult is to change the experience that my child is having. And so when I was yelling one day when he was 3 and he started to close his eye or cover his ears, it was like the most devastating moment in my life because I realized I was just repeating what my mom did. And so it was this like instant heart wrenching moment where I was like, oh, I got to change this like immediately.
I think that we can, I was just telling Romy, I think that that all resonates, at least with us in the way that we were brought up. And I'm sure so many people listening, like I was raised in a Latin family and, you know, hitting was very customary. So, you know, like not that I do that with my child, but the yelling sometimes is like, you have to catch yourself and be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Don't want to repeat that at all.
No. And I don't want him to have those habits. So we're trying to break them before they happen.
Yeah. That's a big.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the biggest things I think as we become mothers, right? Is that like we step into finding out like what kind of mom we are, which we don't know. And we don't figure out until we're like thrown into the mix because we all have some pre-idea of what kind of mom we're going to be. And then it just kind of organically starts to happen. And then you innately start to recycle parenting things that's all you know, right? So that's what we find ourselves doing. And then if you're at least in the space that I feel like so many of us moms in this space have been in, it's like, whoa, no.
Yeah.
So I can totally resonate with like this whole thing resonates with me as well. So what did you do about it? What was your actions to saying Eff it? And how did you fucking switch this whole flip?
I think just raising my voice in general is probably something I need to work on personally all the time because I get pushed to that very frustrating moment and then I just like want to lose my mind. So really having to learn how to walk away from the situation has been hard for me. I go and hide in my closet. If I'm about to lose my mind, that's like my secret place I go and hide. But it's just like you get pushed and you get pushed and you get pushed. And now I'm just learning how to cope with it better. I mean, my mom was also an alcoholic, so not drinking every single night is a big deal also. And for him to not see it that often is important. So it's just learning how to grow and be that bigger, better person we're trying to be, but it's so hard sometimes.
Oh yeah. But I mean, like the fact that you're coping and you found your spot, like your safe space to be able to step away, I already think that's like a huge step forward because you're being very mindful of it. You're super aware of it. And that's always the first step, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to be mindful of these things if you want to change them.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, nothing changes if you don't acknowledge it, right? So you are very hyper aware, which I think a lot of us are, of what you're doing. And then your effort kind of movement would be removing yourself, right? Like catching yourself.
Yeah, catching myself before I actually explode, which I'm really good at it now, but it's been 4 years of trying to like just walk away from a situation because he's, 7, that was 3. So we've like had a lot of age gaps and a lot of different like transitions in attitude, by the way, which is a whole nother thing that have been very hard to overcome is this little attitude that I now have on my hands.
Well, it's going to be challenging, and this is off topic, but I know this because I grew up in a very yelling house as well. And I'm not there yet either. My daughter's about to be 7, but I know like as they get older and then they challenge you in maybe ways like, and so if you're already a hot-headed person, right? Like I'm assuming you are, like you can get heated, right? And you can react. It'll be interesting through your motherhood journey as you're working through this effort moment of like pulling back, what it will look like when your child is the one really pushing your buttons.
Well, we've had that happen recently just because school is about to end. And so morning routine has become such a struggle for us. And so the other morning he like wouldn't listen, wouldn't get dressed, which at the beginning of the school year, he was like dressed before I even woke up. So we've just like slowly, gone downhill. But I looked at him and I pointed my finger at him and I was like, you don't know what my mom would do to me when I acted like that towards her. And he was like, ugh. And like straightened right up. I was like, you don't even know what happened in my household, buddy. So don't go there with me right now.
Oh my gosh.
She feisty. She feisty, folks.
Yeah. My mom would not have that either at all.
No way. I'm like, you have no idea how good you have it, bro. Like, be nice to me.
Well, our kids are getting this like evolved like generation of parents. Like we're all really doing that self-work and that self-healing. So I'm like looking at them like you don't even know. Y'all don't even know how we were raised. It was a hot mess. The fact that we're standing here today, full grown people.
Functioning people, like, yes.
Functioning is a fucking blessing,
yes,
people.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, with therapy. Functioning with therapy.
100% too.
So take us back to that, I guess that moment where you like it really flipped for you. Like how did that moment make you feel? You said it was like disheartening and you felt like it was heartbreaking and all of that, but like I don't know, just kind of run us through that moment.
I mean, at the time I hadn't done as much spiritual journey work as I have at this point, so I have a different perspective, I think. But in the moment it really just threw me for a loop because I just realized to myself that I'm repeating what I was trying to change. And then now, having been 4 years out of the situation and really learning how to communicate better or when to walk away, has been like the biggest change for, I think, my whole family in general. Like even when my husband starts to get flustered, I'm just like, okay, walk away. We can have this conversation again in 5 minutes, but like there's no point in us like getting frustrated over something so really basic at the end of the day. Because we're just talking about like kid problems, but we don't want to repeat them. So
yeah, it's very triggering though, when like your kid does something that reminds you of like your childhood,
yes.
It's like, that's the real hard part, real hard part. So yeah, get it. But I was just going to ask, or you just said it, like it clearly had an effect on all your relationships. It sounds
For
like
sure.
To just like have this moment of like, oh my God, I gotta be mindful of this. and then you're hyper aware and you're mindful of it through every relationship that you
Right.
have. So it's a good effort moment
Yeah.
to have.
Well, my husband came from a household where they didn't speak about anything. And then I came from a household where you yelled about everything. So we've had to find that really like common ground where I feel like I'm communicating and he's like absorbing what I'm saying and repeating it back to me so that we're like even on the understanding. So yeah, it really has changed everything. Now that you say that, it really has changed more than I realized at the moment.
I don't think we realize the dynamics and like the personalities that happen as we make families, right? Like whatever your family may look like, you just end up putting a child as one personality and behavior. You are your own, your partner. None of you are wired the same. And then you're going to coexist and live in a home together with beautiful love and harmony. And like, how do you navigate through that and figure out how everybody works together? And this is why we are badasses, because somehow we figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
You know, we do. We figure it out with the pain and the challenges and the effort moments and the therapy. We go, okay, we need to all communicate, receive, listen, show love, have empathy, and do it all even when we want to tell everybody to fuck off.
Yeah. It's so interesting when you break it down like that, Romy, because it really is so complex. Like
It
being in
is.
a household with people that are like with your husband or your partner that's raised in a totally different way. Like you were saying, he processes. You are like outward with the way that you express yourself, and like that was similar to me. I would process, and my husband's process. We're similar, and that's hard too to be able to be on the same page and figure all that stuff out. But it just goes to show how important it is. And I really hope that like as our kids get older, it becomes more of a thing that there's like actual like emotional classes in school. Yeah, like, to understand that like we have different love languages and that people like understand things differently so that we are more accepting of people's differences. You know what I mean? And like the way that they approach things. It would be so incredibly helpful if we had that as a kid.
I have been talking about this, like, and I'm sure we can all jump. I'm glad you said that. And I don't want to go completely off track, but it's like, there's so much going on in the world right now. There's so much going on with children right now. There's so much going on in schools right now, right? Like it's just across the board. But like what I feel is so important and it's missing, and maybe it should be, Carla, is like more attention on emotional growth and education at a young age. We focus on like, it's like that fucking meme where they're like, why didn't they teach me how to do my taxes in school? But they're teaching me like this. And it's like, you know what? Like, yes, why aren't we learning like some real skills that really take us into the world, and learning how to deal with your emotions and communicate at a young age? I don't care how smart you are. If you're capable of doing that, you can run the fucking world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're not teaching our kids
My
this.
mother-in-law, it's funny we talk about it now because my mother-in-law never asked my husband how he felt about anything. She's like, I didn't think to ask him. I didn't really care what he was thinking or feeling at the moment because I was in charge. And so now I'm like, when my son is mad or frustrated, I'm like, how is that feeling? Are you mad? Are you frustrated? Are you sad? Like, give me a word to describe how you're feeling. Because I think we really do have to teach them, what does that feeling inside mean to you? And how can we get it out?
And him being like a little boy too, Jenna, it's like making sure he's aware of his emotions that matter and doesn't mask those up. And we don't see another generation of men that don't know how to like, you know, get in touch with their emotions because they've been never, no one pays attention to it because they're boys.
Totally. 100%.
Well, they need it more than any of us right now. Okay. It's like,
yes, there is like a lot. I think the depression rate in men is pretty high.
That's sad.
Yeah, because they don't like we with our friends will talk about everything. Men they don't have that. So it's like these poor guys, you know? So the fact that you're talking to your son about it now, it's going to make a huge difference for sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just odd that that's not just like a normal thing that we ask children. How do you feel? How does that make you feel? How can we get it out of you? Like when I'm frustrated, going for a run or a walk is a great way for me to exert that energy. And I want him to find those ways to exert his energy as well. So
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And teaching those skills is so important. Like, what do you need to do when you're in this? My daughter has these emotional breakdowns all the time, like bless her little heart. And there are times when I get like my mom too, and I'm like, I can't deal with this right now. Like we've got so much, I can't deal with your fit. Like I'm not a breakdown kind of person. It doesn't happen often, you know? So when it's like this constant breakdown, I'm like, we have stuff to do, but then I have to stop myself and be like, it's okay. You're having these feelings. I'm not mad at you for having
Right.
these feelings. I need to slow my roll and give you space to have these feelings because this is who you are. This is how you're processing, and mommy processes different, you know? Like, but I had to catch myself. It was a few years ago that I had to slow that roll and like give her space, because one day she looked at me and she goes, "You're mad at me for crying." And I was like, oh, that's my fucking moment of like, oh, hell
Right.
no. Mommy is not mad at you for crying. We allow tears. We accept emotions. It was more mommy is just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You know, but like we have to catch ourselves, because then what? Then we create the pattern that you're not allowed to cry or feel.
We don't want that either.
Hell no. No. My next question would be though, what did it do for your family by having this moment and having this shift in your fucking moment?
Well, obviously it changed the way we communicated immensely, but we also ended up going to marriage counseling because we realized that we were not communicating on the same wavelength. And so it really, again, did change a lot of how we moved forward in life and how we communicate now with each other. I just couldn't allow it to continue. I was not going to like repeat history. I cannot do that to myself or anybody else.
Did your husband react in a similar manner with your son, or was it totally different?
The complete opposite.
Okay.
So he was looking at me going, why are you freaking out? You know, and then I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, then that makes you feel bad and shame. Like, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. And guilt and like all those things. So yeah.
Like, we don't need any more of that.
No.
And Jenna, I need to say too, I have a lot of friends with very similar stories. And like, I love that you're speaking up on this, because I'm sure a lot of them listening, I know specific friends are like, God, I felt really alone or shamed by this part of me as a mom, you know? And it's so important to be like, you're not alone. A lot of us are going through this and have yelled and screamed and are trying to fix it.
Yeah, I love talking about topics like this because, again, we all aren't alone. We're actually all in the same boat, just trying to stay afloat. So I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, and we all make mistakes, and it's okay to just own up to them. Like, actually, today I was watching an Instagram story, and it was about a dad who caught himself, like he was hitting his daughter, and he admitted it. He's like, I was hitting my daughter. And then the one moment where I went to go walk up to my 3-year-old and I raised my hand and she went like this, he was like, what have I done? Like he completely broke down and was like, I have to fucking stop. So it's not similar in the sense, obviously you didn't abuse your husband, your kid, but like he admitted it. Yeah, he admitted it and he was like, I was wrong. I was doing the same thing. I wasn't even thinking about it. And then to see my kid scared of me, like that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like we don't want that for our kids. So yeah, that reminded me of that. So my next question is, do you have any fears that come up for you? And the next leg to it is like, how do you stay in the EFFing momentum and not let those fears stop you?
I don't really live with fear anymore about it because we've really done a lot of work around it. And again, I've just found that like my reaction is now different. And now that I have a rhythm to my reactions, when I start to feel that way, I know to just instantly take myself out of it. So I think that having done the work has gotten me away from having any more fear around the situation. So yeah. But find your space, because my closet is my happy place with my bags and my shoes. So I just go to where my happy space is.
Yeah. See, I think I'm going to take note of that, because I think for me, since I'm an internal processor, like I get real quiet and shut down when I'm frustrated. And that's like, all I need to say is like, I need to walk away. Like I need a moment.
I just go for a run. I mean, I am Forrest Gump. If you know I'm going through stuff, Carly, you know I run all the time, but that's my, like, if I'm having a stressful day or things are crazy, I'm like, I got to run. Like, I just got to go run. Yeah. And then there are days that like those runs just keep going, but I know that now. It's my tool. Yeah. It's how I release it. It's a healthy one. I'm not drinking myself like I was when I was in my 20s to shut down. I'm just overly exercising.
But now you
Yeah.
get to like kind of have
Yeah.
extra cookies at night because you've over exercised.
Because I've overly exercised. You know, I've exercised the stress away, and there's a lot of stress, so there's a lot of exercising.
Yeah. But how easy that is to be able to just say that though when you have a partner around, you know, like to just be so that they don't feel like, am I doing something
Right.
wrong? Because I know since my husband processes the same way as I do, if he doesn't communicate it to me, I'll feel like, did I do something? So I have to like just being more vocal about it is, and it's not that hard.
Well, I think
So-
the one thing I've learned and I love to talk about is communication. If you do not communicate with your husband on how you feel, he will never know.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. No. And the thing is, we just don't, and sometimes in those moments, but we
Right.
do. So, like, yeah, it is communication is very important for sure.
I mean, communication with everyone. I feel like
Yeah.
this is the key to every significant relationship in my life right now, including my relationship and communication with my daughter, who is 7. That is key. My relationship with Carla, who is my coworker and the person I do business and life with, that communication is key. That it's like your work relationships, your spouse, your partner. At this age, in this stage, and in motherhood, wherever we're at, like without it, it's just chaotic.
Well, and I don't have time to waste.
Yeah.
I don't have the
No,
time to waste.
Yes.
we don't. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We
You
really
know,
don't.
I'm over it. I don't have time to sit here and figure it all out. No, thank you.
Yeah. Very good point. Very good. I'm sure most moms will be like, yes.
Which is why I think all of us are so like, our time is so precious. Who we share energy with is so precious because we can only give so much. We're moms. We can only give so much outside of our children and our, you know, our partners and like our jobs, right? So when we do, learning these tools, learning how to communicate, learning how to create boundaries, learning to not snap on everybody because we're just done, you know, or shut down, you know, whatever it may be. I mean, these are skills. This is shit we need to be putting on fucking resumes. Like we are.
Yes. Oh my God.
We're killing it.
We're communication executives.
Emotional support. What do you like? Emotional support.
Yes. It totally
Emotionally
is. Oh my
intelligent.
God.
There we go. Emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. When
That
they're
is
like,
true.
let me see your resume for the last 6 years. And I'm like, you know what the most important part of that resume is? I've learned to fucking communicate with people. I can hold space for you. I can multitask. I'm good under pressure. I have this.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true.
100%. Well, Jenna, I'm curious. And what would your advice be to any mom listening who is in this moment, has been in this space? What is your advice to them to kind of get to this moment or get through this moment?
I mean, I think once you recognize that moment, you're like, oh shit, that just happened. I really think it's just you need to take a step back, take a breath, and then like give yourself some time to really just process it and think about it. I love to journal. That's like the one safe place I can get all of my emotions out. But it's totally up to you. I also think just going for a walk and having some like quiet time will really also help you process it. And then you just have to find a positive way to move forward that works for everybody, because it's going to be different for me than it is for you. But I think just finding something that works for your family after that moment is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice.
I'm curious, since you said your son is 7 now.
He is.
Has he expressed a change? Like, has he noticed a change in you? Has he even brought that up?
You know, he kind of they make fun of me a little bit in my house because I'm the only girl. And I'm kind of like spiritual woo-woo crazy now. And so they're like, oh, where's your crystals, mom? Do you need to go read your peace prayer card? Like, you know, they like to like kind of give me a hard time about it now. So, but it's fun.
Jenna, welcome to all of us. I think this is like all of our kids are going to grow. Okay, so like we're all functioning from like abusive, disruptive parents, right? And our kids are going to have like triggers from like crystals and like spiritual shit and like quotes. They're going to be like, okay, y'all, like my mom used to stare at the moon and, you know, watch the planets go and pray to her God.
He's going to be like,
I can't smell Palo Santo. Can't smell Palo Santo. No sage. No sage.
No sage. I'm dead.
He always makes fun of me when I sage the house. He'll come home and he'll be like, what did you do today? I'm like, what do you think I did?
Oh my God, that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
That is pretty
You're like,
funny.
you're welcome.
The house is cleared now.
Yeah.
All is well.
Yeah, the energies are gone. So you're welcome, everybody in this home. Mom is doing her job.
Yeah.
Well, Jenna, we are so grateful that you joined us and shared this with us. Is there any social media places or anywhere you'd like anyone to follow you or anything you want to promote on here?
So I sell positive intention prayer cards on Etsy under Jenna Be Spiritual. And you can also follow me on Instagram. I do like tips and tricks on how to keep a positive life and momentum moving forward. And it's Jenna Be Spiritual as well. So
Oh, fun.
I
Okay,
love
cool.
that.
All right.
mm-hmm. If you both send me your address, I'll send you some prayer cards.
Ooh,
Oh,
I
we
love
would
that.
love.
Okay.
We would love,
So-
love,
Yeah.
love. We would absolutely love
Thank
that.
you
You're
for that.
welcome. We
Yes.
all of us moms need a little strength and peace and love sometimes. So
Oh, all the time.
All the time. Also,
All the
Carla likes to read anything that lifts her up and inspires her. She is motivated in this world by words that
Yes.
like guide her.
Perfect.
So
That's why I have so many like quotes on my
Quotes.
body. I had to stop because I'm like literally a walking motivational pamphlet at this point.
I love t-shirts that have that on there. So we're almost there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There
yeah.
we go. Awesome.
All right.
Well, everybody go follow her. We thank you so much. This is the end of the show, Jenna, where we are going to say
Just F it.